So you did a nice job of breaking down the goal of Dino Babers to run the 100 plays, in which they failed to do last week, but that was a good thing because they had a touchdown lead in the fourth quarter and they slowed it down and showed the ability to actually be able to grind the clock a little bit in preserving that one-score lead against Clemson to pull off the upset. But that's what they're typically trying to do, and run, let's see, 114 pass plays of over 10 yards per play. That's one of the top 3 stats in that category in the nation. Do you have concerns about the Canes in the secondary against a passing attack that has 2 receivers? Okay, we're exactly halfway through the season. Steve Ishmael, 62 catches. Irvin Phillips has 56. They could have 2 100-catch guys.
Yeah, I think that there is obviously some cause for concern for Miami. D. Delaney, the redshirt senior grad transfer, is out again this week. So he's not, and he was a starting cornerback. So I know he had rough performances those first 2 weeks, and I lambasted him on this very platform. But his last 2 games that he played very well. But he missed last week's game. He's out again this week with a leg injury. Sheldrick Redwine, who missed last week with, I believe it was concussion syndrome or symptoms after sustaining injury against Florida State. He's not listed on the injury report this week, so he should be back. So, you have Malik Young and Jaquan Johnson and Sheldrick Redwine, so 3 or 4 starting defensive backs. Michael Jackson, who I said basically had a game-saving play against Georgia Tech, because if they complete that ball, we probably don't get, Miami does not get the ball back. So he'll probably play a lot. Trajan Bandy, your freshman nickel back, cornerback, he's 5'9"-ish. So he'll probably play a lot. And yeah, hopefully things are more settled this week. The big problem in the secondary has been Robert Knowles, and I hate to single players out for their performance, but he's just flat been bad. Subbing in for Redwine at free safety. He had 2 coverage breakdowns against Florida State. Both of them went for touchdowns. He had a coverage breakdown last week against Georgia Tech on a play-action play when there's only 1 receiver in a route, and that receiver got behind him for a 48-yard gain on 3rd and 8. So he made tackles in the run game, obviously, last week. He did some good things, but in pass coverage, there's much to be desired from number 20. So getting Redwine back is big. Obviously, you're going to rotate those guys, so you might see a Javonte Dean, our JUCO junior transfer. You might see, I don't even know who else, maybe an Amari Carter finally getting some burn, maybe Romeo Finley at safety getting some burn. But, yeah, I want to see that the other cornerback slot, the one that D. Delaney is vacated by injury, I want to see that that's kind of good and strong, because we're going to need it. And that's really going to be the key for the secondary to lock down. Now, on the flip side, Miami's defensive line is one of the top 3 in America. And I believe the defensive line can go toe-to-toe with Clemson. Now, if you're going player by player, yeah, I'm probably going to take more players on the Clemson defensive line. But as I said on Twitter today, Miami goes a legit 10 deep, and you can even make a conversation for them going 12 deep with 3 complete defensive lines who have players that make plays. And the starting defensive line is as good as any in America, and I'll put that up against anybody. Second-team defensive line, you got guys like, trusty Trent Harris, number 33, Demetrius Jackson, who plays outside and inside on some pass rushing things. So you'll see mix and match. Even with Jackson and Chad Thomas, the starting end, they move inside. Then you put the speed guys on the outside and just let them go get after it. I think that's going to help the defensive backfield, because we're going to get upfield. We're going to blitz a little bit, obviously, from the linebacker slot also. And it's going to be tough for Syracuse to block our defensive line. Period. And if we can, in the defensive backfield, make Eric Dungy hold the ball even a little bit, then the defensive line is just going to eat. Like Joe Jackson, you can't block him. R.J. McIntosh, Kendrick Norton, Chad Thomas, Trent Harris, Demetrius Jackson, Pat Bethel, Jonathan Ford, Jonathan Garvin even getting snaps. Anthony Moten, redshirt senior, back in the middle also. We got guys. And I know they want to play fast, but we've done well against teams who want to play fast, because that second string line or whoever is there and ready to go. So even after completion, they're coming straight off the field. The new line is going to where the new ball set is, and we're going to go. So I think that that's going to be a thing. And I said this before the season, that the front of Miami, the down linemen, those 4 up front, getting pressure without blitzing or adding extra pressure by blitzing. Guys like Michael Pinckney, who's a great blitzer, Shaq Quarterman, who's a good blitzer but not as good as 56. You know, you do that, then the defensive backs don't have to cover for 5 seconds. So I think that some of that might help them as well. So obviously the players in the secondary have to step up because we won't get there on every play. I mean, to think that is like, you know, you're playing NCAA football on your old PS3 on freshman setting. Like, you're not going to get home every play. But, yeah, I think that the defensive line is going to help out the secondary. But, yeah, until I see it, I don't want to see any breakdowns and things. Because even Clemson had the one with the seam route, which was used in one of the videos that our guy Justin Tatavio did on our website, when they threw him the ball, Irvin Phillips, one of their leading receivers, and there was nobody on that side of the 50 but him, because everybody went to the curl routes. He goes to seam, throw the seam, boom, you're gone. So, yeah, obviously you want to see your secondary play well against a team because they're going to throw the ball 50, 60 times, which means that's 50 and 60 times you got to pass rush. You got to cover. Is it man? Is it zone? Is it cover 1, 3? You know, is it quarters? What is the coverage? So you want to see those things not break down. But, you know, between hopefully guys stepping up in the secondary and the defensive line dominating the line of scrimmage, which I expect, I think will be okay.